Well, hello there, friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025, and it's the monthly Paper Pumpkin Workshop. So glad to be with you today. We went from lots of rain last night to sunny skies this morning. So all ready to share a really fun paper pumpkin with you. Let me go ahead and I'm going to add my desktop here so you can see the kit that we're going to be doing. So for those of you that are not aware and have not been at one of the Paper Pumpkin workshops before, I do provide this on my YouTube channel and my Facebook Live business page, and this is a free workshop. And what I will do is actually share the projects that are in this kit, as well as share some alternatives. And today I plan to actually double the number of cards that are in this kit by just adding some additional card bases. So this kit has 9 cards in it, 3 cards of 3 different types. And when we're done, there'll be 18 cards. So what a way to get more out of your money. That actually brings down the price per card to just a little over $1 a card. How would you like to be able to share this happy mail for that really good deal? Anyway, as you're joining me today, please sign in the comments and let me know who you are and where you're watching from. And if you're watching on YouTube, in order to use the comments and sign in, please make sure you're in your Google and or YouTube account, and you can use the comments as well. Okay, so as I said, this is a monthly subscription program. You can buy it month by month, or you can order it in 3, 6, or 1 year increments. And this is the gift that my husband gives me every year, and I get a present per month. And it's so exciting. They give us more an idea of the theme that's coming and a picture of the cover, but beyond that, it's a surprise. And I love to get it in my mailbox every month. And so inside it is full color instructions, and they help us look at everything that's in the box. Actually, if I look at the back here first, it will tell you all the parts and pieces that are in the box so you can check, make sure you've got everything. It also talks about the coordinating colors. That was really helpful today when I wanted to increase the number of cards we were going to be able to make with this kit. So I just read the list and chose some colors to add as card bases. And then if you would not see a Paper Pumpkin workshop like I'm sharing today, there is a QR code where you can watch someone actually put the kit together. And then for a 3-month increment, they have an additional die cut set that matches the 3 kits during that quarter. So for April, May, and June, this is the kit of dies that are available that you can use in making the projects and or alternatives, and then just have in your die cutting collection. So, all right, let me just set that aside and we'll open the box that you get in the mail. And I want to say, hello, Sue. Oh, it sounds like you're getting the rain we had yesterday. Well, just know the sun is on its way because we are enjoying it today. So anyway, when this kit comes, what I love is everything is wrapped in tissue paper like a present. So this one was in nice light blue. We always get a stamp set. And so this is the stamps that were in this one. You mean the world to me, to a wonderful man, happy birthday, love you, best dad ever, you're the greatest, happy Father's Day. And then we have all kinds of birds, because these Mountain Majesties is the name of this set, is all about beautiful landscape cards. They're really gorgeous. And then as far as adhesives, they're actually providing regular size dimensionals and tear and tape, because we're going to be using everything from some vellum die cuts to actually printed die cuts, and then using tear and tape and the dimensionals to give our cards dimension in varying levels. And then the Stampin' Spot, because in all paper pumpkin kits, you get at least one, and every once in a while you'll get two. Today's is Misty Moonlight. All right, I've got the dies and the cards and the envelopes and the stamps on the block, so we're ready to go. So I'll share a little more of what was in the kit as we're making our cards today. So I'm just going to set, whoops, no, I'm not going to throw it. I'm going to set it off to the side. And let's see. Hi, Betty. Nice to see you. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to do each card per the instructions. And then I'm going to do the alternative card. But there you go. We're back. Okay. So as I said, inside these full color instructions, it will show you project 1 or card 1 needs all these parts and pieces. Card 2 needs these parts and pieces, and card 3. So I've already taken care of and organized all of that together. And so we're going to open this up to card 1. But as I'm getting started, the first thing I'm going to do with all 3 card bases is I'm going to cut them in half. So let me just show you this, because this is what I think is an opportunity every time we get a paper pumpkin kit. Many times the front and the back of this one card base, which if you were using this, it's scored, and you would just fold this and you would have a beautiful two-sided card. Now, I don't think I need that on the back of my card, and I'd rather have more cards. So that's why I'm going to cut these all in half. So we've got the one from Project 1. Here is the card base from Project 2. And then the card base from Project 3. So I'm going to get my trimmer up here, and I'm going to cut them all at the same time. And so this is as easy as just going to do it on the next one. And 4 1/4. This is really easy. So today, I don't know about you, but I am busy planting flowers, planting the garden, and weeding. So simple is my goal today, but yet still making 19 cards. The other benefit of this kit is very masculine. So, you know, if you think of a kit for masculine cards, so I need to boost up my number of masculine cards I have. So today's the day. All right. So now we're going to go back to the instructions here. And as I said, I've got the card front and the card back. And I thought this would look wonderful with Lost Lagoon. So I have, you know, I just took one piece of 8.5 by 11 card stock, cut it in half. And so it's 5.5 by 8.5. And we've got 2 card bases. So I'll set the one off to the side that's going to be our alternate. And we're going to do the project one on here. And then I've got another piece of cardstock here to go with this alternate. So I'm just going to set that over here. This has matching envelope. Isn't this pretty? Now, I'm not going to take time to do it today, but to make matching envelopes for the additional 9 cards I'm making, I would just take this flap and I would take my blending brush with Lost Lagoon for the extra cards in this color. I would use the Misty Moonlight for the second set of cards I'm going to do, and then Pecan Pie for the other one. So it will be color coordinated somewhat the way this looks, okay? So that's kind of an easy way to make matching envelopes for this. We'll just set that up here. Okay, and we're going to do a little stamping here first. And I'll remind you, these are all photopolymer stamps in my paper pumpkin. So I'm going to use my Pierce mat as I do my stamping. So I've got that card front here. And you know what? Well, I will score my card base in just a minute. So I'm going to bring in the parts and pieces that are all for this card. And we're going to go ahead and do our stamping. So the stamping in this kit is very simple. It's more about these dies that are solid and vellum, in colored vellum. They're really pretty. And I'll show you what adhesive I used when we put this together. But let's go ahead and do the stamping. So in the instructions, it shows me that Happy Father's Day is what's meant for the label that's been provided, and that there's a whole bunch of birds, a large group of birds and small to put on the top of this. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Like I said, I have these all mounted already, and I'm going to use my large pad because I saved my Stampin' spots for crops and classes and all of that. So, all right, we've got our Misty Moonlight here, and we're going to do our birds. So I'm first going to do this large group of birds, and I'm just going to gently tap, tap, tap in here. Hi, Betty. I'm glad there's more than one Betty. You're both wonderful. All right, so we're going to have this group of birds first. There we go. And then we have the few extra birds. Now, how detailed is this? You know, you get 2 different bird stamps. And I think these are going to be a little closer down here. Oh boy, little extra ink there. So let's get out the secret weapon. This is a sand eraser, and I'm going to just go ahead and sand eraser just actually breaks up the fiber of the card base. Yeah, got to do it just a little bit more here. And it rubs some of that off so that if you have some wayward ink, which was on the end of that stamp, you won't even know it was there. Invisible. Yay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that and some adhesives and a bundle that I'm making available to you pretty soon, a little later in the broadcast. Here's our Happy Father's Day. So let's go ahead and ink this up carefully. And then we'll just put this straight, and we'll come down, and we want this just to be in the middle. And we've got our Happy Father's Day. All right, so now we're ready to put our card together. And what's really nice, especially since there is different types of die cuts, vellum and the printed die cuts, they show you how they want you to alternate your dimensionals, and then tear and tape, so that you have different dimensions on the front of your card. So it's really a fun way for you to use things. The nice thing is the tear and tape can be invisible, as can many glue dots behind vellum. And if there's something in front of it, then if you use the dimensionals, you won't see it either. So just kind of be mindful of the type of adhesive you use when you're working with vellum. And before we put this together, I do have to add the 3 mini or dimensionals here, because I couldn't put them on until after I stamped my sentiment label. But to save us some time, I have put the other adhesive on the different parts and pieces. So they also get as specific as to tell you the different die cuts and which one should go in and when. A, B on this side, then C, and then D. So it's easy for me to follow. So let me just lay these out the way that they have them. And we're going to start with what they are talking about as A. And this is vellum. And so I'm going to put that on first, and it's the tallest layer. And so the thing is just squaring it up on the bottom of the card and then pushing it in place. And then going with B. And now this has the tear and tape. And once you get that on here, the easy way to peel that adhesive covering off is with your take your pick tool. So we've got that. Then I'm just going to square this up. Press that in place. Okay, now we're going to go back to another piece of vellum, and we're going to, this one has tear and tape on. And square it up again. And then we go back with some dimensionals on the final die cut here that is just printed on the cardstock, and square that up. So I'm going to show this to you like this too, so you can see the different dimensions on there. Very fun. And then very easy with this, these 3 for the sentiment label. Okay, and then I'm just going to make sure with the 3 dimensionals that I have on here that they all hit the same level, so that it's at one height on the card. Okay, now if I were using the card base as it had been provided, then the card would be done. But what I'm going to do, just so I'll get a little more out of this, is I'm going to just use the Lost Lagoon. Get my ink all the way out of here. The Lost Lagoon cardstock that I cut, and I'm just going to score it here at 4 1/4 so I can make my card base. Just got to make sure I have the scoring blade in place. And then I'll take my bone folder here. Oops. And then, now you could cut these down, but you would have had to cut down all the die cuts. So I just left this as the full size, and I'll just be gluing it right to the front of this card. So just going to use my multi-purpose glue. And remember, when you have the multi-purpose glue, the nice thing is you have the slide factor to get things lined up exactly how you want them. So there we go. Now we've got this. And then in order to make this complete, I am going to take just a piece of white cardstock. Remember, I keep these right on my desktop, and they are cut to the card insert or card front size, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I am just going to put that right inside. Now, if I were going to stamp it, I would stamp it before I glue it in case I make a mistake or something's a little crooked, but at this point, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to have the white in there. And there we go. We've got one envelope and one of the kit cards all ready to go. And you know what? I had glue on my finger. So when this dries, I've got another little tool here. This is my adhesive remover. And if you just rub that on there, it takes the adhesive right off, and you'll no longer see it on your card. So, all right, you're seeing some of the magic today. All right, so let's make the second card that we have from the back side of that card base that was provided. And I'm going to make just a real easy little fun fold here. So let's do a little cutting and a little scoring to make this card. So this is the first alternative. And just make sure I have this stuff out of the way. So I just need to do some scoring on what is the card base. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually put what would be the normal scoring here at 4 1/4. I guess you can see this up here. I always work closest to me, but get my cutting blade out of the way and get the scoring blade in here. Okay. So now I want to make a different front on here. So I'm actually going to score this at the halfway point of the front of the card, which is 2 5/8. You know, so it was 4 1/4. So, you know, 2 1/8. 4 1/4. Yeah, I'm sorry, 2 1/8. You know, I would do it wrong and we'd have a unique card. So I am going to score this, what would be right in half. Okay. So we have the 2 scores on here. I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and this card base, I'm going to cut in half to make a unique card front on here. So I'm going to take this at 4 1/4 and I'm literally cutting another card front. So now I need the cutting blade here. All right, I'm going to set this part off to the side, and I've got this card front. All right. And then I'm going to want to have an inside here, so we'll need another piece of white that is 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay. Let's make the structure of this card. So just folding this in half. All right. And then where I have this additional score line, I'm actually going to fold that back on the front of my card and use my bone folder to do that. So this is a very, very simple fun fold card. And then I'm going to take the additional card front that I've cut out, which was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and that is going to get glued right onto this flap so that we're going to have this open up. A little fancy, and it'll also be able to stand up. So in order to glue this part in place, I'm going to take that over to the side here, and I'm going to put the glue on the flap that I have folded back. And I'm just going to go around the edge of this. Little glue in the center there. Okay. And then I'm just going to match this card front up with this whole card. And press it in place. You can sometimes use your tabletop to make sure it's all lined up. Okay, so now we've got a fun fold. So it'll just open up a little differently, okay? And once again, I have a full card front on here. And before I put it on there, I'm actually going to stamp on here. So one of the things as I was putting this together today, I'm like, well, what can I use to make this faster and simple? Remember, beginning of June, trying to make things fast. So when I have additional die cuts or additional sentiment labels, I keep them in this little box right on my desktop, and I can just go through here. I can look at stamps I have. I can look at colors that I have, and I can choose something to make the sentiment. Sometimes I have another box like this that actually has all sentiments like this. Now this one ended up with some that are stamped. For the most part though, these are my empty ones. And then I have one that's all full of stamped ones, and I have my index book that I do too. But anyway, this makes this easy. And I decided that I wanted to add just something white on here. And then I'm going to do Thinking of You with this card. So let's get our Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to just do upside down whenever I have a larger sentiment. I like to bring the ink to the stamp, and I'm going to grab the Pierce mat. Let's see, where did I set it? Here it is. Just because conditioning a stamp, so this stamp I've not used before. It's actually part of this sentimental framing, which is all sentiments. And I like the size of this Thinking of You. Well, I haven't used it yet. So to condition it, I'm actually going to stamp it a couple times to get the ink to adhere well. Because when you're looking at this stamping, see how some of this is lighter, some is darker? That's because how my stamp is accepting the ink. And because it's brand new, it's not doing it evenly. So to get it to do that before I put it on the actual card, I'm just going to stamp it off a couple times. Now, the other thing you can do to condition this is to wash it and stamp with it. That also helps. But you can tell that there's a difference here. Now, this one is so much darker all the way through, where this one, especially on the K, missed the ink. If you could see it in person, you can tell that it's a little bit lighter and not as clear. Okay. So now I feel like that's better. So I'm going to just put that off to the side again and ink this up one more time. And because these are words and pretty thick, you don't have to use the Pierce mat. But you can if you want. And I think just for a little padding, and I might go off the edge of my circle a little bit. I'm going to do that right here. And then I'm just going to, having this grid paper also helps me make sure that I'm getting as many of the words on here as I can and not go off the edges. So there we have our thinking of you. So I'll just set this off to the side. And I'm just going to go ahead and I think I'm going to pop this up on here with dimensionals. Let me go ahead and glue this to the front of the card first. You know, no matter how much stuff I try to move around and get more room on my desktop, I always need just a little bit more. And as far as gluing, I'm really using just a very fine line and using the tip of my glue. I was asked the question this week about there being bumps on the other side, you know, when you're gluing something to a card. And the challenge that that person was having was actually using a little bit too much glue, because if you use too much glue and it's wet, it can make your top layer, whether it be designer series paper or cardstock, but especially the designer series paper, bubble and, you know, look like it's not flat. So, you know, use it sparingly. And that's also why I like to press on my cards when I am gluing them, to kind of help spread out that glue so that it stays nice and smooth. Okay. And then we have our thinking of you. And I'm just going to grab the dimensionals here. Now, depending upon what's going on, what I like about a thinking of you card is when it comes to send it to someone and I have a person I want to know that I'm thinking of them, I can put a more specific sentiment inside. But right now, I'm just going to glue the white in so that I'm ready to go if I want to add a sentiment, an additional one, or if I want to just write a note. So we've got this. And now if you had any designer series paper in these shades, you know, something very soft, you could add to these panels. But otherwise, and the other thing you could do is add ribbon or embellishments. But at this point, I'm just going with simple, but that'll stand up nice. And this landscape is just so soft. So that is the first alternative. And like I said, I would just use a white envelope and use my blending brush to put Lost Lagoon on the flap. And then this would be very pretty. So out of that one card base, we end up with those two cards. Okay. And you could use the sentiments that were part of Paper Pumpkin. There were more than just the Happy Father's Day, or you could have 2 Happy Father's Day cards. But picking out another thing of all sentiments makes it easy to add to the types of cards you're making. All right, I don't know if anybody has any questions about card 1, but I'm going to be getting ready here for card 2. So we'll flip our instructions over. Okay, now this one, no stamping till we get to the alternative card. So same thing, I've already, cut the 2 parts. So here's the card front, here's the card back. So I'm going to just set the card back aside. Okay, and then this one I do need to score. me score this at 4 1/4. Oh, not the blade. I'll be cutting that right in half. Okay. So I'll just score or fold the score line there. And use my bone folder, make a nice crisp crease here. All right, we've got that. And then here's the card base. Let's see. I think more important for you to see the card itself than the instructions. I'll read to you what's on the instructions. But so I guess, wait, we do have a little stamping. Only one thing of stamping here is a few birds up here in the sky. And so I'm just going to use my Misty Moonlight and this little set of birds. Now this is the one, remember, that actually had a little extra ink on it. So let me just clean this off so I don't repeat the same mistake that was on that first card. Dry it off. All right, there. Now I'm just going to be very gentle because this is one of my well inked up stamps. And I'm just going to find the spot, perfect spot to put those birds right there. All right. Now let's go for all of the layers that we're going to have. And I'll tell you what, just to make this one easy, I'm going to glue the card front to this new card base that I've provided in Misty Moonlight. Beautiful color, I might add. I have a hard time. Do you have a favorite blue? Would be one of my questions. Because I was kind of disappointed when, boho blue was an in color and it gets retired. I really liked boho blue. This is Misty Moonlight, and since that's become a part of our color families, I love it. I love Night of Navy, Balmy Blue, Little Pool Party. Trying to think what other ones we have in there. In the blues, well, now we have the new one in colors. We have this one that is Secret Sea, that is kind of between Night of Navy and Black. And we have this later cloud cover that's kind of a grayish, balmy blue. So really, we've added some blues to our collection. I don't know if you have a favorite. I'd be interested for you to put it in the comments if you do. All right, so let's get the parts and pieces here for this card. Because once again, we have die cuts that are printed on cardstock. And we have the sentiment is actually printed out with white ink here. Thank you for being the person you are. And then a little white background to help that pop on the card. So kind of think about that. This is just a very basic rectangle. How many pieces do you have like this that are a scrap in your collection that you could just put on a card to help your sentiment pop, right? It's just the little things. All right, so then we've got the 3 layers. And once again, this is going to help us because I have got the dimensionals already on my sentiments. And this set of trees is a die cut that's printed. Then the vellum and the front of this one, they actually have the tear and tape because they want that to be kept closer. And then it says, once again, we're going to put A on first, then B, and then the C is the trees here. So let's see how these are going to go and put them on in the right order. Okay, so the first one is going to be this really pretty misty moonlight colored vellum. You know, your take your pick tool helps also just getting these backs off these dimensionals as well. Okay, and so once again, just going to put this on and square it up. And you know, until I get all the sides looking the way I want them to, I don't do any pressing, right? Okay, now we're going to do B here, and this is actually the tear and tape. And so I'll take the adhesive off of this. Kind of use my finger as the bumpers for this. And there we've got the colored die cut, and now we're going to go ahead with the trees. Think about this design if you're trying to make some masculine cards. These grays with the different shades of blue and a little pool party in here, and or Lost Lagoon. Very pretty color combinations for making masculine cards. Sometimes I kind of put that away, or actually I'll even, you know, write myself a note when I see how they've used the colors of how I could use them too. You know, when I'm trying to make a card from scratch. All right, and then we've got that beautiful tree, another level. Okay, and now we're going to add on this white rectangle to set off our sentiment. And once again, I'm just going to take note of making sure that this is the dimensionals are on the same height of paper. And then I think I put it on here a little crooked. Yeah, it's all right. Taking it back off. Okay, and straightening it out. I'm careful about one thing and then I muck up the other stuff. Okay, and then the unique thing about this to make this go right is they're off to the side. So when you're thinking about your adhesive placement, always evaluate whether they can be in the center or need to be off center based on where you're putting them. And I'm making it so the dimensionals are on the side of the white. There. Isn't that pretty? Very dimensional. And then in light of bringing in a new card base, I'm just going to put in the inside of my card again. So little enhancement to the card project, but the card front is what was intended from Paper Pumpkin. And then this envelope being the Misty Moonlight one. Isn't that pretty? Imagine opening your mailbox and seeing that pop up, right? Okay, so now let's go ahead and we're going to do the alternative card with this. And as I said, I'm trying to do this simple, and I'm trying to increase my inventory of masculine cards. So the first thing I need to do with this is just make my card base. So this one I'm just going to make a regular card 4 1/4. Okay. And my bone folder. And this one, now if you wanted to, you could cut it down because I'm not going to put any of the layers on here. So maybe this is the one that you do want the sides of the card to show. So just to make a little difference here, let's just do this. And I'm going to cut all on one side here. I'm just going to cut this down to be my 4. There we go. I'm going to make this my 4 inches. And then I'm going to take it off the sky to make it 5 1/4, which I can see the inches over here. So I'm just going to slide it down here while I cut it. But I just have cut off the top piece. All right, so now this is going to be the card front. And before I put this on, I'm going to go ahead. And what I decided is there is a happy birthday. I believe this was part of the set that was in here. Yeah. So I am just going to use that. And, you know, you can, I want my box and I have this circle. So if I want to, I can do this and have happy birthday so that it kind of pops. Or I can do it right on the card itself. I think it will pop out a little more, and I think I'm going to put it off to the center like that. So let me ink up my happy birthday stamp here. Now, as far as this one has not been conditioned either, so let me just stamp with it a couple times so I'm sure I've got good coverage. And then I'll put my extra little circle here. You know, if I have a little scrap paper and there's enough to pop a circle out of it, I do that. So my circle punches are usually pretty nearby, because if I can make something easy for the next time, I like to do that. All right, so we have our happy birthday. And I am going to pop this up, just adding a little interest. And let's go ahead and glue this to the front. So one of the things that, you know, I need to remind myself, and I'll just share with you, is this doesn't always have to be really hard to make some very pretty cards and have them available, you know, when something comes up, or even for the people that you make cards for, because these are so pretty already. They've done the work for us, right? By having the printed card base. All right, so we've got that. And then we can do our happy birthday. Just move that off to the side a little bit. There we go. And let's go ahead and do the inside of the card. Okay. So they're very masculine, and you could put bling on here, or you could just leave it be, and you've got, you know, another card. So I think that's very easy and would be well received, right? Okay, let's go to card number 3. So if there's any questions on that one, don't hesitate to ask. And we're going to grab the parts and pieces here that we cut in half for the back and the front. So the back doesn't have the moon-like shape that you can see, or the sun kind of over the desert, but no worries. We have our 2 pieces of card base here. Let me go ahead and get them scored. If I would have thought about it, I'm sorry, I would have done that ahead. I have these cut in the right size in my filing cabinet, but I don't have them all scored. I probably should score them. So there's one, and let's go ahead and score the second one. Okay. Now the stamping on this one is what I just talked about as a possibility, but I'm going to stamp right on the front of this card front. And we've got another color of envelope that goes with this. Now I believe this is petal pink, but isn't that gorgeous? Set that off to the side, and I'm going to grab the stamp "You Mean the World to Me" is the sentiment from the Paper Pumpkin set, and I'm going to do this in the Misty Moonlight. And once again, first time I'm using these stamps, so we'll do a little conditioning here. There we go. Well, I guess I can put this right on here. Line it up to be as straight as possible. And then it's really nice they have it right across that white space. You mean the world to me. There we go. And then we're going to go with the, I'm going to go ahead and put this right on the cover right away. And this is going to be the kit card with all of the layers of die cuts and vellum. So you know, this card design, if you like this, you can do this by just tearing paper or cutting paper with the scissors in these like hills and then just layering it. And remember that we used tear and tape and dimensionals to create some additional interest with what we're doing. So this has, I'm going to make sure I've got all 3 layers here. And it told me now these, all 3 of them have the dimensionals on the back. And the vellum is going to be okay because you're not going to see it. So let's go ahead and just pull these off of here. So this is a pretty easy kit, but I love the fact, I was just thinking, you know, I need masculine cards. And then I opened this up and I'm like, yes, my wish was granted. I guess also the fact that it's almost Father's Day helped too. So just FYI, if you don't have your Father's Day cards done, either do your paper pumpkin kit if you have one, or, you know, make your own Mountain Majesty and go ahead and have your card ready. Little less than 2 weeks away here. Okay, let's add this one. I like that this is really going to build up the bottom of this card because of the dimensionals 3 times over, right? And the last one. But here, I'll just show you. See how the dimensionals would show through the vellum? So that's why you would use tear and tape if that were your top layer, or you would use mini glue dots, or you would use the little sponge with glue that will dry clear. Okay, and we're going to put in our middle here. I thought this was really pretty with pecan pie. This is my new soft suede. A little more color than soft suede, but I was really sad when that one went away, but I do like pecan pie. All right, and so that is card 3 from the kit. And now let's do card 3. With the back of that card base. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that before I put it on here. And this time I decided to use something from a different stamp set. And this is It's Okay. And I really thought this scene, it's okay to sit and simply feel how you feel. This stamp set has really pretty words. You know, sometimes when you don't know what to say during tough situations, what can I do to help? Take your time. I'm here when you're ready. It's okay to try again tomorrow. I love the inhale, exhale, and then the one that we're choosing to use right now. So great stamps, sentiments when you just don't know what to say, right? I am going to continue using my Misty Moonlight, but if you wanted to change it up a little bit, doing this sentiment in pecan pie would be very pretty with this card too. Now this one is actually a red rubber stamp, or what we call our cling stamps. And so I don't need the pierce mat underneath. Just going to hold it in place and make sure I press uniformly across it to get a nice sentiment. There we go. And then I'm going to glue that onto the front. Okay. And now I kept this one the same size as the whole page. You could have made a frame. You could have actually cut this down quite a bit and put a embossed background. Any of these matching colors to put that together. But this is just very easy. And you know what? I think that's a little crooked. So you know what I'm going to do? Go into my little box of tricks here. And I'll find something. Now that's kind of neutral. That covers it, but that's pretty stark, isn't it? Yeah, that's a little much. All right, I'm going to leave it for right now, but I'm going to tell you I'm going to fix it with a label. So if that happens to you, that's how you can fix it. So there is our third card. All right, so easy way to go from, you know, this set of what now is 6 and times 3 more to get your 18 cards, right? So we've got what was the kit card, and then just using it very plain but very pretty. Okay. Then we've got this one in the middle that's a little bit more decorated, and making this one into a happy birthday. You know, if you have a lot of guys that you need, I would just do the same round thing and make this happy birthday too. And then the last one in this group is the Happy Father's Day, and then making the thinking of you. And so making it simple instead of complicated. Okay. I have a couple other things to show you to hopefully give you some ideas for celebrations that are going on. Let's see what other tips I have. So first is, this was a lot about adhesive and how you can use your adhesive. And when you do things differently with it, it will make a difference in your cards. So I've put together what is called the Ultimate Adhesive Bundle. And you're going to see it coming out. It may be over the weekend, but it might be Monday, because I am putting the finishing touches on what will be a guide to using all these adhesives. And that's going to be a part of this packet. So let me get all the parts and pieces. So, you know, until I got into being a demonstrator and using all of these things so much more, I didn't really recognize the difference in adhesives. And there are some adhesives that are really better for certain situations than other situations. And so I'm writing that all in that guide to help you, and then providing these different types of adhesives in a one-stop package. So, you know, if we start out, I would say, you know, the thing that I use the most is my mono adhesive, the liquid glue. And this is great for everything, but do not use it with ribbon. You don't want to have liquid adhesive coming through your ribbon, right? But otherwise, this is great. I want to say hi to Mary Ellen and Sue. I'm glad that you liked the cards. Okay, so then we go to, and you saw me use a lot of this today, was the mini dimensionals. Now, mini dimensionals come in two sizes, and I'll tell you, I use these back and forth all the time. Can you get just one size dimensional and cut these in half? You can. They're still not quite as small as the mini dimensionals, but in this bundle, I decided to provide both because I use both even on the same card many times. Okay. And then we get the mini glue dots. And so, as I said, these work well with vellum. These work very well to put ribbons on your cards. So you get a whole box of that. And then I have the Stampin' Seal. Now, for those of you that like tape runners, I have to tell you, I've been digging through my cards lately and packaging them up, grouping them together and giving them as gifts, or putting them together in packages to sell. And I have had a number of cards that dried out that I had used, now not Stampin' Seal, and this is the Stampin' Seal Plus as an example, but the Stampin' Seal is the one that I'm putting in this packet. That's why I now use the glue. I haven't found any that I used glue on that's fallen apart. What I like the tape runners for, and you have to make sure that they're the lignin free so you can use them on your photos, because I don't want to put glue on my photos. So I use my tape runner for scrapbooking. And then the Terran tape, excuse me, which you also saw today. 3D projects, this is awesome. Using on vellum in longer strips, awesome. This is strong stuff, and I've never seen this come apart, at least not for me. So I'm putting that in this packet. Okay, and then when you're gluing, if you have a silicone sheet and you might be getting glue on your desktop or on your paper that you glue on top of or whatever. I really felt that was an important part of sharing an adhesive bundle with you. And then for a bonus, I am throwing in a pierce mat, because if you don't have that and you use polymer stamps, this will result in you having better stamped solid images. And so I'm doing that as a part of this package just because it's a very important part of card making. And then I have put 3 pieces of masking paper in here. Now, if you've not used it, this will give you a chance to test it without having to buy a whole packet. It's prorated as a part of this bundle. And this is how you make stickers. You stamp on top, and then you peel the backing off, and this is like a sticker you can put onto your cards. And then, to make 3D images. You put this on your card, and this will come off like a Post-it note, okay? So you can make dimension and show things that are in front of or behind other things. And then these are the adhesive sheets, and this is what you do to make stickers when you're die cutting, so that you, especially thin words, little things that you don't want to try to get glue on, and want them to stay in place. And so once again, I'm giving you 3 pieces, which is a quarter pack of a whole pack, so you can check it out. And if you don't do a lot of die cut words or those kind of skinny things, you might not need a whole pack. So I'm giving that to you as a part of the bundle. And then those little pieces of magic I used today, eraser and the rubber adhesive eraser, are also a part of this packet. And then you're going to get a little card surprise in there from me. So this whole packet, and this is the first time I'm offering this, is going to be at a 20% discount. I have 10 kits, and those first 10 I am doing at a 20% discount. So all of this adds up. Plus, remember, there is going to be the guide about how to use adhesives and tell you more about the adhesives available to you. That and all of this is a $91 value. So right now, I am going to be selling it for 20% off, which is $73. So I don't know that I'm going to do this deal again. I do know that for a limited time in these first 10, I'm going to do for $73. So like I said, watch for it coming out. I'm in the process of just getting that information together to send to you. But if you would like the variety of adhesives and you want to learn how to do adhesives, if you're experienced or a beginner, these are things that will make your card making and paper crafting much more successful, and you can get it all in one place. I'm also including in that $91 that I need to send it right to your home. So a really good deal, but one I really think will make a difference for you in your card making. Okay, a couple other little things. I went to a baby shower. If you read my weekly email, you saw a picture of my husband and I. Well, the person is loves cows, and the theme of her nursery is going to be cows. So I wanted to show you. Now, this is the envelope. And these are both retired Stampin' Up sets. And I actually have to tell you, I don't own these stamps, but I had a stamping friend that did. So I borrowed these. I made the envelope with, this is the plaid that's still available in the Storybook Suites. So, you know, you can get that on the sale this month. You buy one, get one, 50% off any product that's in a suite or a full suite, and how you pair that up. But anyway, isn't this cute? And his head, I was going to put it on a wobble, but my craft room's such a mess right now, I couldn't find my wobbles. So I just popped it up, and then, holy cow, and I could write them a little note about their new bundle of joy. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. This was a die cut out of another one of our nature something that I thought really went well with the plaid, and just wanted that little cow to jump off the page. And next Tuesday, I'm doing a stamp, a class, and I am loving the Sunrise Sailing. And it's got a hybrid embossing folder, which includes, I haven't even opened this yet. Let's see if I can show this to you. So the hybrid embossing folders, if you've not seen them, they include not only the folder itself, and this folder is really cool. This is getting me ready for vacation in Door County. So this actually has clouds and water and the sailboat. So you can make a scene just using this embossing folder by itself. Better yet, it has and comes with it a set of dies that can step up your game. And I can't wait to share with you how I'm going to use this in the class next Tuesday. There's waves, so you can create, depth. And then the clouds, the sailboats, they fit inside here. And you can actually make the detail that's in the sailboat and cut it out at the same time. There are die cuts for the birds. I'm not sure how this is all going to work. I'm going to play with it, but this gives me the opportunity to cut that sailboat out. So if I want to do this embossed and then have the sailboat pop out, I'm going to be able to cut the exact same sailboat out and put this together. Okay. So when I saw this, I'm thinking vacation, I'm thinking 3D. This is gorgeous as far as what you can do with the water, the sail. Anyway, I'm going to do a shadow box class. So now I did not make this one, but my friend made this beautiful shadow box for me. And this was back when we had the hydrangea stamp set. And I love this. Anyway, I have done other shadow boxes. So I'm going to share those patterns and how you can make it look like this. But I am going to create a new pattern using this new stamp set. So, if you're interested, this class, like I said, will be next Tuesday. And something else that I'm doing for this summer, because I'm trying to make it easy for all of you and easy for me, is I'm going to do a summer special. And the classes that I offer in June, July, and August are all going to be at a rolled back price. And I'm going to be doing them for $19.95. So that is going to be a whole $10 off the full class price and an additional $5 off from what I do as normal early bird prices right now. So it's a $10 off the full class price and $5 off the early bird. And so for this summer, there's going to be 3 classes. This is going to be the shadow box. And I'll tell you, it's been my most popular class that I've ever done. And $19.95 next Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. And then I'm going to do a Christmas in July class in July and birthday cards in August. And so keep your eyes out for that because they're going to be a wonderful deal. And lastly, with that sweet special that's going on with Stampin' Up, the being able to get buy one, get one 50% off discount, anything in the sweets, and there is great stuff in those products. In addition to that, if you buy $50 worth of Stampin' Up products from Plum Crazy Stamping, I will email you this 4-card free tutorial using the Celebration Sips suite. And once again, these designs can be used with this suite or with other products that you may have, but you'll have 4 designer ideas to help make it easy for you. So with all that being said, I just want to thank you so much for joining me today for the Paper Pumpkin Workshop. I hope that you got some other tips in addition to seeing what's in this wonderful kit. And if you have questions about anything that I shared today, don't hesitate to reach out to me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. I'm here to help you. And I hope that you get some stamping in this week and have a great time. So Tuesday, once again, I'll be doing the shadow box class. Watch for that, and registration will be here on my Plum Crazy Stamping business page, and it will also be on my blog, and it will also be in my weekly email and some other emails I'll send you to make sure that you see it. And otherwise, I'll be back next week, Wednesday, with another card making lesson just for you. So, friends, have a great week. Take care and happy stamping. Bye-bye now. And Betty, you're welcome. Have a great day.